Uh-oh. What happened? Oh.
What?
Okay. Sorry, I'm back. My computer slept for a bit.
Okay.
All right, as long as you're still recording.
It's still recording. Waves are still flowing.
Good.
Good.
Welcome to the Good Games Podcast. My name is James.
I'm Leo.
And I'm John.
Yes!
John is back.
John! He's back!
Surprise,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm here in the ear.
I'm here in the ear.
Yeah, you took a little break there, John, but we got you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back, you guys.
I missed you, man.
Likewise.
I missed your scent.
Yeah.
My beautiful husky smell.
I missed your touch.
Whoa.
In the ear.
Yeah, we got John back.
That got weird for a little while. All right,
yeah, that did get weird. We got John back for a very special episode. This is our Games of the Year. Top 5 Good Games Podcast, Games of the Year. Jeff Keighley's Game Awards ain't got nothing on this shit. This is the most prestigious Game of the Year awards
I feel like
ever.
the crowds of gamers out there are looking to us to give them the definitive Games of the Year.
Yeah, this is the Games of the Year. We're also going to be reviewing Jedi Fallen Order. And this is probably going to be our last show of the year. So we got to make it a good one. So yeah, let's kick it off. John, I know you loved Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Oh yeah, that was an amazing game.
Okay, tell me about it.
All right. So I would say my level of fandom for the Star Wars series is probably casual, or maybe even slightly less, considering how many hardcore fans that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this game is like, in terms of canon and appropriate level of Star Wars, I thought it hit all the right stuff. Like, it felt like a really good, solid adventure game. It didn't like abuse the Force powers or Jedi powers in any way. I thought the story was pretty good. All the planets were really good. It sprinkled in just the right amount of Star Wars from all the different trilogies, or from the prequel and the modern trilogy, not the sequel trilogies, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think the only nick I can give it is the side character development was kind of But I mean,
the side character? I thought the side characters were interesting. I thought the main character was the least interesting.
Oh no, I thought Cal Kestis was amazing. And,
wow! Okay.
I learned so much. About like Jedi lore just from playing this game. Like, I'm sure the movies went over, but like it kind of tied everything together from the movies for me. Like, I had no idea that like the Jedi are supposed to like get the crystals for the lightsaber. This is spoilers, by the way. They get the crystals for their lightsabers, like they handpick them out of the cavern that they like studied.
You had no idea? Oh man, that is
yeah. So I thought that was really cool. That was like a really nice thing for me because I'm a casual fan. So like there was like a lot of nods to, I'm sure, what was in the movies or briefly explained in the movies.
I don't think much of any of that was in the movies, but you have a lot of great Star Wars games to play, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That talk a lot about that stuff.
Yeah. So Leo, that's interesting. What did you think of this game, like strictly from like a Star Wars fandom perspective? Is this doing the Star Wars series justice?
From a Star Wars fandom perspective, strictly, I don't know. It didn't really scream Star Wars at me very much. Mm-hmm. You have a lightsaber and you are attacking stormtroopers. If you kind of read into like kind of the information about the creatures and stuff, it's sort of in the lore and everything, but it didn't really feel like you were part of this vast galaxy of complex whatever. It just felt like you're very isolated a lot of the time, and didn't have, I don't know, just didn't have a Star Wars feel to me, I guess. It's hard to put it into words.
Like, what exactly is the Star Wars feel? Because you could look at the prequels and say that is its own Star Wars feel, and then you can look at the original trilogy or the sequels and be like, those are all completely, like, Jedi in each of those movies are like different things.
No, yeah, that's
a
fair,
very good point.
No, but that's not what I mean. Like, it's not about the Jedi; it's about the world. Like, in all three of those movies, the thing that's the same is that it feels like a Star Wars. Like, there's a constant conflict between these enemy nations, and the Jedi are just kind of a small role of this overarching major fantastical theme. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whereas in this game, that's kind of hinted at, but most of the gameplay is so isolated, like it's just you and this small crew. Like, it just seems like you could replace all of the characters with Mass Effect characters, and it's like effectively the same game. Like, it's not like you end up joining the clones in a battle for, or you know, like, I don't know.
That's true. You're not reliving any moments from any of them.
There's nothing epic about it to me. That's kind of how I
That's
feel.
exactly what I don't need, though. Like, I don't need, like, remember your favorite buddies from Star Wars? Like, they're all here. Like, there's
Well, I
3PO
don't think
and
you have to have, like, the characters from the movies to give that feel, though. Take a look at, like, Knights of the Old Republic.
There was some of that, though. There was a couple of scenes in the game.
Yeah.
There are, which is those are come across as kind of campy, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Kashyyyk has the most of that. Like, here's Saw Gerrera, remember him? And here's the Chewbacca guy, like, remember him? And you're like, yes, I remember.
But that's not what I mean either. It's not about, like, seeing faces you recognize. It's just about feeling like the world is going through this epic turmoil, and you're just a small part of that, and it's like all connected, and it's the Star Wars, man. It's like an epic. It's an epic. It's a space epic. Like, that's what it's all about. And I feel like in this game that just has such a minor role. Like, it's just, you're just a dude going through ruins and stuff. You know, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like he's connected to the Star Wars world. That's kind of how
I think what you're identifying is, like, the stakes are not high.
That's probably a good way to put it.
I would say that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that was fine with me. Like, okay, so I think Leo and I would probably describe ourselves as, like, pretty big Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And it helped
Slightly.
me. It helped me that this game was okay. So the game is set closely after. Closely before A New Hope. And it seems like we're closer to A New Hope than we are to the prequel trilogy, which kind of helped me just because my favorite, now that we have 3 Star Wars trilogies, my favorite trilogy is, of course, the original trilogy, the one I grew up with.
Oh, yeah.
And it helped me that the game kind of felt, you know, it's all the classic stormtroopers and scout troopers and, like, all of the stuff, and probe droids. There's a lot of elements from the original trilogy, which helped me feel at home. But also, like, there's stuff at the beginning where Cal, and this is right at the beginning of the game, Cal is working on, like, a shipyard, and they're dismantling ships from the prequels, presumably into scrap to make new stuff, like new Star Destroyer. Like
the intro part of the game, the first 20 minutes or whatever, the first, like, level was, like, light years ahead of the rest of the game. Like, that whole intro part was amazing, and it felt like a continuation of the story in between episodes, like, 3 and 4.
Okay, and then it didn't lose its interest after that for you?
Well, no, then it just kind of went off and did his own thing. You know, it just wasn't like a part of the epic story anymore.
See, I like that. I like that it's its own isolated story. You don't need to be a Star Wars fan to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I'm just saying from a strictly how Star Wars does it feel. It doesn't feel very Star Warsy in that aspect.
I'm kind of in between you guys. Like, it felt like Star Wars to me, but, like, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't.
It felt like a game with Star Wars in it, rather than a Star Wars game.
Okay.
Like, it has Star Wars ingredients, but it's not a Star Wars game.
I would prefer more pieces of media that are exactly like this, where you just get isolated characters, isolated stories. You don't need to know anything about the Skywalkers or anything about Darth Vader or anything about any of the major characters. I think that's really cool.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea if the story that is being told can hold its own. I think that's key.
Yeah. I definitely think, like, story-wise, I think I was mentioning side characters earlier. Like, I didn't feel like there was a overarching villain or, like, a purpose to the, like, it left the story very open-ended. Like, they hinted at this, like, Master Jedi who was researching the archives or whatever, and, like, they never talk about him ever again. Like, if he's still alive or like the outcast or like the fallen Jedi that was just randomly on Dathomir. Like, there's no backstory to him. He just shows up randomly, and like he's like basically the final boss or one of the final bosses. And you're left wondering, like, what the hell? Like, where's the continuity?
Doesn't it feel kind of disconnected?
It does, it here and there, but like also Cal's like supposedly this Padawan, and he just becomes like a Master Jedi overnight. So like there is some of that going on, like it's bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the story kind of wanders and kind of meanders around for a while. Like it. Kind of like what Leo was saying, like the stakes never feel high, which they don't have to feel high, but like so basically for the uninitiated, the story is about Cal Kestis, who is a Jedi during the purge that happens in episode 3, you know, execute order 66, that whole thing. His master is killed, and Cal basically goes into hiding. He doesn't reveal to anyone that he's a Jedi, and he just kind of assumes the role as a normal person. But this all changes one day. It's very, I don't know, serendipitous, I guess, because an accident happens at work, and he's forced to save his friend by using the Force, right? So he reveals himself as a Jedi, and there's, like, an Inquisitor there, and he's like, you're a fucking Jedi. But then at the same time, it just so happens that these two people who are, like, trying to revive the Jedi Order have just now located Cal and, like, pick him up and rescue him. Like, there's a lot of, like, that's very convenient.
How convenient. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, very... I don't know. There's a lot of plot.
I mean, there was some of that. There was some of that in the movies.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying the movies are immune to plot contrivances. Whatever. We can get into the Disney trilogy later. So yeah, and after Cal is rescued, the game kind of just becomes about like, hey, what if we try to revive the Jedi, the Jedi Order, which is kind of a weird premise because like anyone who's even a casual Star Wars fan knows how that story ends because there are not a fuck ton of Jedi in the classic trilogy, nor in the Disney trilogy.
So you already know the ending of this, right?
You kind of already know how the story ends.
Right.
So Cal and this his pseudo new master, I guess, who is like sworn off the Force because she like almost turned to the dark side, so she's like, nah, actually I don't want to be a Jedi anymore, but I want to also revive the Jedi Order.
Very, very trustworthy from the very beginning.
Yeah. Which they never explored, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sierra's kind of weird, and then she has like a weird alien pilot guy, and then eventually they take on Marine, I think, or Marin, who is a night sister from Dathomir, and then this motley crew, and Cal Kestis's pet droid, I guess, BD-1, go on this adventure to revive the Jedi Order. And that's basically the story, but I mean, that's basically the entire story of the game, and it just kind of, I don't know. I feel like the story kind of gets lost in the weeds sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of did one of the sequel trilogies where, like, you go do the thing to
yes.
get the one thing. You
it
know,
was,
like,
and and we could talk about Last Jedi after this, but yeah, there was a lot of like, we got to get this MacGuffin to get the next MacGuffin so we can get the final MacGuffin because
yeah.
There was
That's
there's
true.
a holocron, but in order to get the holocron, they had to like decipher the holocron or so. I can't even remember all the different planets they have to go to get all the information they need for some reason or another. But yeah, that's the story. I don't know. super duper high on the story of this game, and maybe that's why, I don't know. I wasn't just super duper high on this, and I wasn't super into Cal Kestis as a character. I know, John, you are, and my wife definitely is very into Cal Kestis. I just never connected with him. He just kind of seems like nothing.
He's a young, spunky kid with trying to prove himself. You know, he's like like I said, he was like the Padawan that wants to be a real Jedi, and like that he got denied that opportunity, and now he got like a second chance at it. Basically, that's how I see it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He almost has it too easy for me. Like, it's like a young guy like that who had all that problem as a Padawan, like, shouldn't be able to do everything that he ends up doing throughout this game.
Here's the thing, like, something, it's a little bit spoilery, and I guess we can get into spoilers
we're
later.
Full spoilers here at the Good Games Podcast. Come on.
Okay, well, full spoilers right now. So, during the Purge, Seer, who is one of the people on your crew, her apprentice turns to the dark side, but not only that, she gave up her apprentice to the Empire after she was tortured. So she has this like terrible guilt and like this you know, this terrible like survivor's guilt about the Purge, the Jedi Purge. So she has a lot of trauma associated with the Purge. I never sensed that from Cal. Like I don't know. He's like always like super optimistic and like, yeah, we're gonna do it. Let's do the thing. We're gonna try our best and do our hardest and like, yeah. I never felt that he really experienced this traumatic purge where like everything he loved and cared about was taken away from him. You know?
Well, the game kind of plays into that a bit. Yeah, like the fact that he remembers certain parts of his Jedi training as you progress through the game, like. You got to figure he didn't remember that. And then also, he spent his whole life being a scavenger on that one planet. Like, anything adventurous is, like, new and exciting for him, you know?
Okay.
No, I get that that's kind of, like, his character. It's just weird that, like, then he just kind of grabs that by the horns and then just, like, is majorly successful at, like...
Sure,
but you could say the same thing.
You could say the same thing about Luke Skywalker.
But but they explain that by saying that Luke Skywalker is like this pivotal character for the entire like mythos of Star Wars, right? Like he's the one, like they kind of follow him as that character, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And this character we know from the very beginning is nobody. He's just a nobody. Like he's not important to the major story. So this is just like an average guy who hasn't been using the Force for years, has been hiding in these slums, and then he just tries to go on an adventure. I feel like he should have died on Kashyyyk. He just should have been hit by a stray blaster bomb.
You don't know. Maybe he's like a major bloodline that has.
Oh, and maybe, and I would totally be on board. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like I was missing from that. Is like there's nothing epic about this person that you would think. So like there's nothing epic about this story. It's all very like subdued, and so this character. It's unbelievable to me that he's just like this strong and stuff. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they still got to make a game.
Yeah,
where you get to use the Force powers and everything.
So I think my problem with Cal Kestis is, for me, he is similar to Han Solo in the Disney Solo movie, in that he is the least interesting character in his own media. Right? Because I found Han Solo to be the least interesting character in Solo, the Disney movie.
Right.
And for me, Cal Kestis is the least interesting character in Fallen Order. Like, I would much rather hear more about Seer. I want to know more about Marin. I want to know more about the weird alien pilot guy. I'm going to sneeze.
I don't know if I necessarily want to know more about all those characters. Maybe Marin. Maybe Seer, I guess. But... not any more than Cal Kestis, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. That's fair. Maybe that's just subjective. What did you guys think about the gameplay of Jedi Fallen Order?
So I think this ties into the recipe for why I didn't play too much of this game.
Uh-huh.
Like after everything we've talked about, obviously I'm not necessarily like awed by the story. It's not bad. You know, it is Star Wars-y, so, like, it's decent. But then they kind of slap on this game style that, while effective for a lot of people, for me, ends up just being frustrating and not fun. I don't like to repeat levels. I don't like Metroidvania-esque backtracking in games. And then the combat is deliberately difficult, Dark Souls-esque. One hit and you're dead, and you have to do 50 hits at the boss to kill it.
I never experienced that. I never found. Well, what difficulty did you play on? Because this game has like 4 different difficulty settings.
I don't even know. I don't know. It's
Probably normal.
probably normal. I don't think I usually try to go any harder than normal.
Yeah, I played this game. This is gonna sound like I'm like bragging or whatever, but I played this game on normal, and like I never even remotely found it challenging. Like, yeah, I died I don't know, probably 10, 20 times, but like I would not describe Jedi Fallen Order as a challenging game. But again, difficulty is extremely subjective, right? And like me personally, did not find this game difficult, nor would I describe it as a difficult game.
I don't think it's necessarily about how difficult it is. I think it's the play style of the game. It's a Dark Souls-esque game. Like,
yes,
like I never had to fight a boss more than once or twice. But the fact that I have to fight bosses in that style of combat where like I have to dodge a lot and wait for my opportunity and hit it 20 times.
The slower reactive.
The slower kind of dark, like where the danger of death is nigh, and then all of the enemies respawn repeatedly. Like that it's taxing to me. Like I don't like playing this type of slow adventure game, I guess.
Yeah.
I found the game to be like Souls Light. I guess everyone keeps comparing it to.
I think that's accurate.
I thought that was an apt comparison. I thought it was challenging in the right ways. Like it wasn't over the top difficult, and it wasn't like just mash a bunch of buttons to get to the next scene. Like it played out better than like an Uncharted game or like a Tomb Raider game where you just kill all the enemies, you move on. Like
let me ask you this though, John. How much better would this game be if you didn't have to worry about enemies respawning every time you went to a new checkpoint or whatever?
I kind of like that aspect because it gives a stakes aspect to it. Like, okay, I'm not going to just blow through this area.
It just felt tedious to me. It just felt like, I have to go do this, like walk through this section again and kill every monster again.
I would agree, except that the game gives you plenty of enemy variety, and also you unlock a lot of new abilities very frequently. So like, you're always experimenting with new Jedi powers, or you encounter like a rocket launcher stormtrooper, and you're like, I can't deflect his missile. That's amazing. Like every interaction's unique. So yeah, I didn't really get that much feeling from that.
Fallen Order is definitely touted as like, or it was advertised. Well, I don't even know that it was advertised, but it was talked about a lot when it was coming out. Like, oh, it's Star Wars or Dark Souls, but Star Wars, which like is true to a point. Like this game is very obviously inspired by Dark Souls and implements a lot of the same Dark Souls mechanics like you were just talking about, where when you rest at a checkpoint, all the enemies respawn. It has the same sort of like action combat as Dark Souls, where you have to dodge, parry, all that sort of stuff. I found like I found a lot of first of all, I found the resting at the checkpoint respawns enemies. I found that like 90% of the time to be completely inconsequential because like
the checkpoints were very frequent.
The checkpoints are so frequent, and like I never found myself dying to random enemies. Like a single enemy does not have the same amount of threat as a single enemy in Dark Souls. Like you're not gonna die to just a random stormtrooper. Now, the danger, and this is similar to Dark Souls, the danger is when you get, like, overwhelmed, so there's, like, 5 or 6, and they all get you at once, which they start doing that more and more near the end of the game. But, like, 90% of the time, I found that mechanic to be, like, I don't care if they respawn, it doesn't matter. But also, like, it's kind of Dark Souls, but it's, like, if Dark Souls...
It's not as good as Souls game, as the Souls game is.
Yeah, kinda. And I think part of that is because you can just cheat in this game, right? Like, if there's stormtroopers, you can just, like, force push them off the edge, right? Oh, like, I just win automatically.
There's some of that in the Souls games, too.
There is absolutely some of that, but like individual enemies never stand because you can just like force pull one enemy and like kill them instantly. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I just want to say that I agree that the checkpoints were inconsequential and the enemies were not difficult enough to make that a factor in terms of like, oh no, I'm scared. But that's why I didn't like it. Like, it just felt like, again, more of the same dudes over and over. Like, it felt tedious.
It's very anxiety-inducing type of gameplay if you're not used to it. Like if you don't expect that when you die, you have to restart. Like,
it just felt tedious to me. It just felt like busy work. Like, I just wanted to go to the next puzzle and forget about these stupid dudes that were pointless.
I think I know what you mean there because, like, part of the like masochism of Dark Souls is you feel so much reward when you do a difficult thing, but like there's not that much difficulty in Fallen Order. So like when you respawn all those enemies, it's just kind of like, fuck, all right, guess I gotta kill all these guys again. Like,
I hate that feeling.
But the boss fights are pretty rewarding.
No, the boss fights were. I mean, I was happy with a lot of the boss fights. I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, even the boss fights felt tedious at times. It just felt like, I get it. It's a hard boss. Like, let me just, I don't know. It's just not my game genre, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a my first Dark Souls, or like a kindergarten version of Dark Souls, or maybe a gateway Dark Souls is the best way to describe that. I don't know. Let's see. Anything else on gameplay with Fallen Order?
I just wanted to add, I thought the respawning enemies in terms of war didn't fit in at all, and I thought they would kind of explain that a bit better, but I guess you can't really. So I thought that was kind of out of place, but it's a game.
I totally agree. Yeah, it felt jarring and tedious, and didn't make a whole lot of sense, and yeah. It was purely a gameplay mechanic thing. And
it is kind of jarring. Like, okay, I get when you die, like, it says, like, respawn, like, you're the studio who makes this game. I get it. But it's weird that there's, like, all this, like, immersion-breaking, like, rules dump. Like, in every checkpoint, it's like, when you rest here, your enemies will respawn, and your health will be restored. Like,
it explains it every time.
Yeah, it explains, like, the rules of the game, which is, like, weirdly jarring. Like, you're like, what? Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
It kind of feels like a game within within the universe. Like, it kind of takes you out of the Star Wars universe, and it makes you feel like you're playing something else, like, in a way.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? I did like the soundtrack to this game. Somebody was trying real hard to do a John Williams impersonation, and they did.
I had that feeling.
It was like they took like the first 4 bars of like any John Williams Star Wars song, and then took it in a different direction. So like I don't know, like it kept doing.
It was royalty free Star Wars music, is what that was.
That's very that's very accurate.
With songs like Imperial Walking Very Fast and the Princess Room / end credits. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. One other thing I did want to touch on. Did you guys have any like weird animation or like glitches or graphical issues with this game? Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of that.
Surprisingly for me, it's been very limited. I didn't really notice too.
Okay.
I got lucky with my setup, I assume.
I had a lot of like frame stuttering, which like my wife didn't even notice it was happening, but I'm like very sensitive to like frame rate dips or like frame rate stuttering, which like I have a pretty monster PC. Like I shouldn't be having an issue running this game, and I know I've also
poor
seen
programming
reports,
is all it is.
I've seen reports of the stuttering also on consoles, so I know it has to be some sort of engine or game issue. But also I had like a lot of weird animation stuff where like I turned around once and the droid BD-1 was just like floating 6 feet off the ground, and I was just like, what?
I didn't know you could fly.
Yeah. There's a lot of like weird animation stuff because I know.
Did you guys have the flat lightsaber?
Oh, I
Flat
haven't seen
lightsaber?
flat lightsaber. No.
Oh, I had a lightsaber that was flat and like 12 inches wide. I was walking around with a paddleboard, a light paddleboard.
That's
it was
amazing.
like a Kylo Ren lightsaber.
No, it was like that from base to tip. Like the entire blade was a flat pancake.
Finn. Nice.
I did have one where I killed an enemy, and then it's like one of those glitches where I don't know how to describe this, but it's like you can tell like one of the polygons for the enemy is like out of bounds or something, and you get this like crazy frantic like jittery like vertex looking. Yeah, I had that once where it was just like all over the screen, just like I don't know how to describe what I'm describing, but
I feel like I know exactly what you mean. It's like an artifact of the 3D polygons. And
exactly, yeah. And there was a lot of weird animation stuff, especially when Cal is running, because I think what's happening is they're using some sort of like procedural animation to try to figure out where Cal's legs should be.
Yes, I've seen that being done in some games recently. Actually, it's like
Mass Effect Andromeda.
It's procedural. It's procedural physics or something. It's like deterministic ragdoll physics.
Yes, and like sometimes when Cal is, especially when the surface is uneven, his run animation just like looks really like, oh, okay, nobody runs like that. Like that looks messed up.
My favorite thing was to like step on some sort of incline where he like kind of like lifts his foot like with that reverse kinematics, and then like if you just kind of wiggle the joystick on that like vertex or whatever, like his leg will just like he has like restless leg syndrome as it's going like it's moving between like raised and not raised very quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm. Yeah. It's weird because it seems like a lot of this stuff.
It's very complex, very advanced stuff.
I mean, it's complex and advanced, but it makes the game seem unpolished. Like when you're having all these weird animation things and like glitches and characters hovering and frame stuttering issues, like all this stuff kind of tacks up to give this game a really rough and unpolished feeling. It feels to me like this game could have used like 3, 4, 5 more months in the oven. No? Yeah?
I mean,
it's hard to say with game
development. It's like I get what you're saying. It was buggy. So like at launch, maybe they could have patched some more of these issues up, and maybe they rushed the launch. But at the same time, when you play the first 20 minutes of this game, and all that crazy like 3D animations are happening, and it's like all that was like so smooth and transitioned with these triggers that just occurred, like it's like just flowed naturally into your gameplay. Like it was very impressive technically in the very beginning.
I was gonna say I was really impressed with the graphical fidelity and animation quality. Like every time you go through a narrow corridor, that animation's super unique, and I thought that was really, really amazing.
That was cool the first 2 or 3 times.
They did it a lot.
The 32nd time he crawls through that corridor, I'm like, what? Okay, why are we even doing? Like, I don't
know. Like that one time, like around the 10th time, you see BD1 like jump off your back and go through his own corridor. I'm like, amazing! That's so cool. Why don't more games have that?
I don't know why there was all those weird corridors. I'm guessing that was like to hide a load zone or something. Maybe. I was because like there's so many of those little crunchy like tiny corridors that you have to go through, and like okay, 2 or 3 of those would have been cool, but there's like 50 of them in the game. Like he conveniently
fits through all of them. You see, that's my point.
Yes.
Like he can't get stuck in any one of these. Like he goes through all of them. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm guessing that must have been some load zone trigger or something that was actually happening in the background.
Yeah, maybe. It's a convenient way to hide a load zone.
So, like, my final thing on this game is like obviously this is a game that's pulling from a lot of different games, right? It's pulling from Dark Souls, it's pulling from Metroid, it's maybe pulling from a little bit of Legend of Zelda, right? It's pulling from some Uncharted. Like the one thing, like I'm playing this game and I'm getting the feeling of all these other games. I can sense the Metroid DNA, the Dark Souls DNA, the Uncharted DNA. I don't think this game did any of those things better than the games it's pulling from, though. Like, it is not as Dark Souls as Dark Souls. It's not as good at being Zelda as Zelda. It's not as good at being Metroid as Metroid. It's not as good as Uncharted as Uncharted. You know what I mean? Like
I would agree with that.
It's borrowing a lot of elements, but not really improving or doing anything interesting with them. Like and like the whole point of like sleeping at the checkpoint respawns enemies, like that's just something you stole from Dark Souls. You didn't even do anything interesting with it. Like
It's a literal copy.
It and like 90% of the time that mechanic, I was just like, why did you even bother? Like what, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a jack of all trades, master of none. You know, syndrome.
Yes.
But you got to think too that they still have to broadly appeal to everyone that likes Star Wars. So it's not going to do anything super core for anyone because they still got to sell a bunch of this game to people who are not exactly gamers by nature, to a bunch of casual people.
It's a risk versus reward kind of thing. Like you risk doing something innovative to try to reach all these different types of gamers and get them all to buy into your game. Yeah. But I think that there is a line where, you know, you might be trying to do too many things at the same time, and you end up kind of just really flailing around and not doing a whole lot of anything.
True.
And that's where I feel I kind of agree with James on this. Like that, in a nutshell, summarizes this game for me because, like, it has a lot of good things in it, and there's a lot of things I like about it. It's just not particularly great enough for me to love any part of it, you know?
Right. It doesn't do any one thing particularly well. But, like, and to your point, I think you can have a game be accessible and broadly appealing, but still innovate, right? And there's just, like, all these, like, all the mechanics that it's...
I would say it did that in its own way. Like, the fact that it incorporated Souls elements into a broadly appealing franchise.
I think it is successful at being broadly appealing. I do not think it's successful at being innovative, though. That's what I'm criticizing it for. Like,
sure.
There's stuff it borrowed from Dark Souls where I'm just like, why though? Like, why when I sleep at a checkpoint do all the enemies respawn? Like, did you think about Did you think about the
how
effect
to explain
of
that?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Did you think about the effect of that mechanic, like, on your game? Because that exists in Dark Souls to create challenge, right?
Yes, right.
There's a risk-reward mechanic in Dark Souls, like, oh, the checkpoints are so far apart. Like, do I want to press on to the next checkpoint and risk dying, or go back to the checkpoint and rest and heal up and do the safe thing, knowing that it's going to respawn the enemy? But that doesn't exist in Fallen Order.
They just do it. You ask why, and they're just like, well, you know, because Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like,
answer.
why?
Yeah, that's true.
Why are we doing the, like, enemy holds your experience thing? Like, when you die, the enemy that kills you has your. Like, why though? Because, like, it's so easy to kill the enemies in this game. Like, why are you borrowing these mechanics? Like, they seem very inconsequential for the game that you're trying to make. I don't think there was a lot of thought put into which mechanics we're going to borrow.
And that's fair. I mean, I think that they did that deliberately. I think to John's point, they were saying, look, people love Dark Souls. People love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Let's make the two have sex and make a Dark Souls Jedi baby. And people will buy this shit. And I think that did work. They sold this game.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean...
So, you know,
I'm sure this game did well, but I think almost anything you're going to slap the Star Wars license on is going to do decently well.
That's probably true, yeah. But I mean, you know, mission complete from I sensed some hesitation there, John.
No, I mean, it will do well financially. It is always a financial success.
That's all he means.
I feel like comparing to this to, like, Battlefront 2, where, like, that was just a crapshoot, where, like, bad business mechanics or bad business models and just, like, an interesting gameplay. A lot of people, like, I think it left a sour taste in the people's mouths. Whereas this, it's not the best game ever, but I feel like I had a pleasant experience at the end for me.
Yeah, no, I at the end of the day, I liked this game, but I didn't love this game.
I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And you know what? There were no microtransactions. There's no, loot boxes. There's no bullshit in this game. So, hey, you know what? Gold star.
And that was Respawn's doing. The Respawn pushed back really hard on that. So,
I don't doubt that they had to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Fallen Order?
Good.
Does Ryman want to add anything?
I think he just did.
Good. Yes, let
Justin
the
is hiding
through you. I heard you don't like this Jedi game.
Wow. Spot on, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's very good. Hey, we
There
got
you go.
we
Sorry.
got Justin here. Hey.
Hello. Sorry.
Justin has been watching from the dark corridors
Yes.
of this podcast,
Lurking.
controlling everything from the shadows.
It's been him the whole time.
The Phantom Justin.
Yes. I'm in control of EA Games.
Justin, you're going to be joining us for our top 5 games of the year, right?
Yeah.
You know what that makes this? That makes this our first foursome ever.
Oh,
First podcast orgy?
Yeah. Woo!
Man.
no
Let's
wonder
do
I've been
it.
having so much fun.
Yeah.
James is loving
Too
this.
many guys in the room.
Yeah, foursome, baby. Let's do this.
Oh, God.
All right. How do we want to do now that we know this is a foursome? How do we want to do what we did last time for the games of the decade, and everyone give their 5, and then at the end we got to narrow it down to 5? Or
I feel like that might take forever, right?
Yeah,
that's gonna take a while. Do we
Yeah.
want to just?
I'll be honest, just flat out before we. I mean, this could be just my initial note on this topic, but like, I had a hard time coming up with my top 5 favorite games in 2019, and we can talk about why.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I honestly just didn't feel like 2019 was particularly amazing for the gaming industry for me, like for my personal favorites, I guess. There's a lot of games that came out, but
I'm kind of with you on that. Like, there are 2 or 3 games I feel pretty strongly about, and
Yeah.
then the rest I'm just kind of like,
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm all for just kind of, collaborating on a list, and I'll just throw in some of the ones I felt pretty strongly about.
I agree.
All right. Let me toss out Sekiro.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, that's definitely a very important game for 2019, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I mean, Sekiro is pretty much obviously made by the same devs of Dark Souls, right?
Yep.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Might be
made by
wrong there.
FromSoft. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
It's
right.
FromSoft.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's obviously, as you guys were just talking about with Fallen Order, it obviously takes a bit from Dark Souls. But do you feel like it was? I personally felt like it was Dark Souls with like a better platforming, better. I felt like the environments were also better in it, so I would definitely think that goes up on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
level design in Sekiro was amazing. By the way, another knock on Fallen Order. I did not feel the level design to be all that great in Fallen Order. It was mostly meh.
It looked very nice.
It looked nice, but like the actual design of the level, like when you play a FromSoft game, specifically like Sekiro, Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, like when you go through those levels, you're like, oh shit, like a fucking genius designed these levels. Like they spent some fucking time designing these levels.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, every time I see Bloodborne, that's what I think. Like with all the damn building detail, all that weird gothic detail they put into it,
Yeah.
like there's so many like minute things put into like Bloodborne to where I can't even fathom someone designing all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about Sekiro is we were just talking about Fallen Order and how it borrowed from these other games and didn't really innovate particularly drastically on any of those mechanics. And I feel like this game borrowed heavily from Dark Souls, but then did innovate a lot. Like it felt like a very different game to Dark Souls.
What if Dark Souls?
It's like, oh, it's Dark Souls.
Yeah. What if Dark Souls had a greater focus on platforming?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a big achievement, a big accomplishment, and of course, Samurai. So it's I'm all for it.
All right.
Well, yeah.
So
that's Leo's
let's
jam.
put that up on the board. Anyone else want to throw out something? I got more. I can throw them all out.
Well, let's rotate a little bit.
I want to throw out Resident Evil 2.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That game was amazing.
I feel it. I feel that one.
I'm actually really excited for Resident Evil 3, and I think
Yes.
that is definitely due to how good of an experience I had with Resident Evil 2.
Yes, that one was like my most surprisingly good game. Like,
Sure.
because like
Most
when that game was,
unexpected.
when that game was announced, I was just like, oh, cool, I guess. And then like I played it, and I was like, that was another game where you played that and you felt like, oh shit, they spent some fucking time designing this police station. Like the way
Dude,
the way the level
yeah.
flows, like the flow of that game, just going through all the rooms in the police station and like running away from Mr. X, like yes.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like the original game. It feels like a completely new game.
But I will say the same thing that I said, back in October or whatever, whenever we did it. The fucking Mr. X teleporting across the world made no goddamn sense. That's the only thing.
And no, it didn't. But I mean, like, I feel like when you play that game and you've never played any Resident Evil games, like myself, and you're like solving a puzzle and you just hear Mr. X's footsteps in the background, you're like, oh my god. Yeah, and I think that adds to it.
Yeah,
you can't get that without the teleporting.
That's true.
Absolutely. I insist that definitely be one of our 5.
I do like that pick. Okay, I'll throw in one to the pot. Katana Zero.
That would have been my game of the year. Katana Zero was amazing.
That is my number one pick.
Yeah, same.
Sure.
Okay, well, seems like that one needs to go up there for sure then.
I feel very strongly about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll throw into the mix here. What should I... From my list, what should I pick? Cadence of Hyrule.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick.
Leave it to Justin to pick the Zelda game.
Yeah. Yeah. But I enjoyed that game very much, and it was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And,
you think it deserves to be in the top 5 games of 2019 now?
I don't know. It's hard because I'm a bit of a late owner to a PlayStation.
Sure.
I haven't played a lot of the 2019 games other than a lot of them were on Switch, so I'm very biased right now. Because having a kid, the only time you can play a game is when you're laying in bed. So I end up playing
Switch
my
is
Switch.
great for that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware, like I've seen gameplay of Resident Evil 2, so I know how that game plays and what it looks like, and I've seen Sekiro. It's hard. Of all the games, going down the games, Cadence. I guess Cadence is more of like a personal one. That would be my personal number 5.
Okay.
If anything.
All right, let me throw out a personal one.
All right.
Baba Is You.
That was on my list, dude.
That was gonna make my list.
Yeah, dude.
This was like the most innovative game I played this year. I thought this was very smart, very good puzzle game.
I mean, I don't know for me if it's just speaking about how little I really was amazed by 2019 or how good this game was. It's very unusual for me to have this type of game, I think, in my top 5 games of the year.
Yeah.
I think this year was fantastic for indie games.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what it is.
I don't think it was a big,
AAA.
huge developer year.
Right.
It was a very good indie year.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe that's
the only
why I have
the only
three
the
of
only
those on the
AAA
list.
the only AAA games that I have are Resident Evil 2 and Sekiro and Mario Maker 2.
Yep, that's on my list.
So, yeah, I could understand Mario Maker. I do think it's kind of niche a little bit. I mean, a lot of people really enjoy it, but I don't know. It seems more for like that. What is that thing that you watch? The speed run crowd and like the Nintendo crowd.
You have to be a platforming fan and should probably
platforming. Yeah, exactly. It just didn't really gel with me. But
Yeah,
I get it.
if you're not really like, you have to be either like, you know, the Kaizo Mario like super hard level fan, or you have to like have that creative bug and enjoy creating Mario levels, or you have to just like whatever, going into Mario Maker and just seeing what's popular right now. That's if you're not one of those 3 people, you're not going to find anything in Mario Maker.
I do think it was very important though for a lot of people, so I get it. It's a very important game release.
Yeah, a lot of people were demanding that it be ported over.
Yeah.
Which not only did they port it over, because it essentially felt like the original game, they added a lot more. So they made it very interesting.
I mean, they did add a lot more, but if I'm going to criticize Fallen Order for not being innovative, I kind of have to do the same criticism for Mario Maker 2, because it's basically just Mario Maker 1, but on a better system.
Yeah,
on a system that's sold better.
Yeah, exactly.
But, say, but to be fair, you get more people playing on it.
Well,
I mean, it did add
same
multiplayer.
risk reward. It added network, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to throw another one to the mix. That's, I guess, kind of personal. Not really. I don't know. I think this is to me now the definitive battle royale game that everyone should be playing, and we actually did a review on it. It is Apex Legends.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
I just feel, as far as releases in 2019, Apex Legends, there's no reason to be playing Fortnite or even PUBG, which I love.
Yeah, that game just blew up, too.
Yeah.
Like, it came out this year, and it's, like, one of the biggest now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
I mean, again, like, that is exactly what we're talking about. Taking the best things from these other games and packaging it up into one little nice thing. They innovated a little bit, but not really that much. But, like, to James's point, they became the master of battle royale. Like,
I felt like they innovated a lot. Like,
they did. Yeah.
They
but
turned
I mean,
the
like,
formula upside down.
They did, but they did it. But they did it all so well, so smoothly, and all the parts that they borrowed from, they masterfully brought into this one game so well that, like, I don't understand what the hell's the point of playing any other battle royale game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Respawn's 2 for 2. In
man.
terms of good games.
Sure.
Well, do you want to then throw out Fallen Order, John?
Ooh.
Well, I did really love the game, and it's like probably one of my personal favorites. I definitely don't think it's top 5 of the year worthy.
Okay, I don't either. I think if I made a top 10, it still wouldn't make the list.
Oh, it would make a top 10.
It would not.
Yeah, I feel like
it would absolutely no. Okay. Like, think of all the other. Okay, because like
top 10, man.
No, okay, because I also have think about this. Slay the Spire came out this year. Mortal Kombat 11 came out this year. Bloodstained came out this year. Fire Emblem 3 Houses came out this year.
Yeah, that's where you start getting to, like, the Jedi Fallen Order range to me.
Yeah, no, it is, but I would still put 3 Houses before Fallen Order.
Probably.
And recently I just played, it just came out a couple months ago, but I just played Disco Elysium. Have you guys played that?
No.
No. It's a really weird RPG. It's like a D&D, like D&D RPG, but there is no combat. Like, you don't fight anything. Like, everything in the game is
just dance.
You just dance. Everything in the game is a conversation. So, like, let's say you're trying to convince someone of something, you have to roll the dice. Let's say you want to prevent your character from being too scared to do something, you have to roll the dice, and that's a stat you have to check against. Like, everything is I don't know, conversations. It's interesting. It would not make my top.
Sounds great, James.
Yeah. It's very, I don't know, it's experimental. It's another, I don't know. It's whatever. A good indie, really, to Ryman's point of good indie games this year.
Maybe it should be our next episode or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought a good runner-up for, like, top 5. Like, if I had to add games to my top 10, I think Outer Worlds is pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't talked about Outer Worlds.
That's right. I mean, it got a lot of critical acclaim, a
Yeah.
lot of hype. I haven't played it, so
I thought it was a better Fallout game than the Fallout games, and then I also thought it borrowed some elements from Mass Effect really well.
yeah, and it even looked kind of Bioshocky too.
Yeah. So like you're saying, Leo, it did a lot of repackaging in a masterful way.
Yeah, I mean, if someone were to bring that one up, I don't know that I could argue. I mean, from what I've read about it.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we've talked about most of the major games this
No,
year.
no. There's one major game that is gone under everyone's radar, and I'm always the one to bring up these games, but I'm being 100% honest here. Untitled Goose Game.
Oh,
you beat me to it.
Come on.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's in my
That's
list.
a good one.
This is a great game for
That
a lot
was
of
a
weird
g- yeah.
reasons.
It touched such a different note.
Yeah.
It's like a game you don't expect to be a game.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
And the title's amazing.
a game about puzzle solving and being a dick.
Yeah. Just being an asshole. And everyone knows geese are assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, the lore is perfect. You know? But it's also a very, like, decently well done, like, stealth game and stuff.
True. True.
Yeah, you can beat the game in like a couple hours, but still, like, that game just was so fun to play. To be an asshole goose
Yeah.
was like, now I want to be a goose. Like, now my spirit animal is a goose.
I just love everything. Like, it's just humorous to me in a time period where political, anxiety is high and like so many bad things happening in our world. This freaking like Untitled Goose Game comes out and just brings the masses together, and they're all like, "Yeah, here's something great and awesome and funny and silly," you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
And of course, it spawned many a meme.
Oh, for sure.
All right, you guys want to try to rank our games now?
All right, what do we got?
Okay, do we want to start with number 5 or number 1?
Number 1 is definite Katana Zero. Are we wrong? I mean, am I wrong there?
It would be my number 1.
Can you guys argue that?
I could agree with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right,
All
number 1, Katana Zero. Is number 2 not Resident Evil 2? How good was that game?
I would agree, Resident
Yeah,
Evil 2.
I would say,
I'm down for that.
RE2.
I'm down for that.
All right, now here's where it gets dicey. What's number 3?
Yeah.
Oof.
So I would put either Apex Legends or Untitled Goose Game somewhere in this zone.
What were the other candidates?
Sekiro,
I could see Sekiro too.
Outer Worlds.
Mario Maker, Baba Is
Mario
You.
Maker.
I'm fine with either Leo's or Sekiro.
Yeah, I think it's between those three: Apex, Sekiro,
Yeah.
or Goose Game.
When I thought 3, I thought Sekiro.
Okay.
I could see Sekiro. That
Okay.
makes more sense.
Sekiro number 3.
Sekiro.
All right.
Okay.
Number 4.
Number 3.
Okay.
Sorry.
now we're in 4. Now I don't feel strongly about anything anymore. Like I don't know what.
Untitled Goose Game, number 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
I
Okay.
feel like Goose Game was huge, man. It was a huge thing this year.
It was. It absolutely was. Goose Game
Worthy
number 4.
of number 4. Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right. What's number
Number
5?
5.
Last game. Who makes it in?
Man. So it's between Apex Legends, Baba Is You,
Mario Maker.
Mario Maker, and something that John mentioned, Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Yeah.
Outer Worlds.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. John, if you felt strongly about Outer Worlds, I don't know that I could deny that number 5 pick.
I mean, I really liked Outer Worlds, but I'm not gonna It sounds like Untitled Goose Game was more appealing here in this group.
Well, yeah, but we already put that at 4.
Oh yeah, that's number 4. Never mind.
So we're comparing it
So-
to Baba Is You and what was the other one we were comparing it to?
Apex Legends, I think
Apex?
it's still on the...
I mean, I really did like Apex.
Apex
Yeah.
to me is just so important for 2019, and Battle Royale is a very huge genre for, the younger crowd especially, and I feel like Apex just wraps everything up nicely.
I think Respawn deserves a spot in the top 5.
I think you're right, John.
Okay, but not for Jedi Fallen Order.
Nope.
All right, that's
No.
our 5.
Sure.
So number 1, Katana Zero, amazing. Number 2, Resident Evil 2, also amazing. Number 3 was... Remind me what number 3 was.
Untitled. No,
Sekiro?
Sekiro, that's
Sekiro.
right. Sekiro, amazing level design. Number 4, Untitled Goose Game. You get to be a dick. And number 5, Apex Legends.
Yeah, that feels like a top 5 right there.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's a good one.
we have full episodes on most of those games, so you can
Yeah,
go back
so-
and listen to our episodes on those.
I guess that means we have to do Untitled Goose Game next,
Or Sekiro.
or Sekiro.
Yeah.
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game.
All right.
I'm curious in trying this Untitled Goose Game.
All right, we might have
Oh,
to talk
dude,
about
John,
some
you'll
Untitled
love
Goose
it.
Game.
John, you'll absolutely love that game.
Yeah,
Yes, no lie.
I'm excited. Yeah, I've been hearing all about it.
Oh shit! I forgot to do our self plug.
Let's do it now.
This podcast.
You should really hold on.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah,
You should
okay.
really just separately record that and save it, and then just plug it in.
Yeah,
like,
anytime.
the beginning and end of the podcast.
no, but then like you know that it's canned audio that you've heard before,
what?
and then like people fast forward. No. I like recording it live. Let's record it all together.
All right, we're
Live.
doing it live.
This podcast is brought to you by our patrons, and you,
Yay.
listener, you can also be a patron if you navigate to patreon.com and find Good Games Cast. Your Patreon money helps us pay for the software we use to host this podcast.
The syndication of the Good Games podcast.
That's correct. And also, you can email us at goodgamescast.com at gmail.com. Jesus. Sorry, that's goodgamescast@gmail.com. There is no Jesus
So there's
in that.
there's no Jesus in the email.
There's no Jesus in that email.
Okay,
See, that's why we do this live. You end up with
I understand now. Now I understand all the
Yeah.
banter adds to it.
Good,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
And shout out to again to our patrons, Lars Mortensen and Fair King. Thank you so much, guys. You help make this podcast possible. All right, should we get to endorsing?
Let's endorse.
Let's endorse. Since we've had a very Star Wars episode, by the way, listeners, stick around at the end of this episode. We're gonna do a full spoiler review of the latest Star Wars movie, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And since we've had a very Star Wars episode, I'm gonna take a very low-hanging fruit endorsement and endorse the best Star Wars media right now, which is definitely not Rise of Skywalker. It's definitely The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. It is very. If you want some good Star Wars, it's right now on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian was very good. It just concluded its first season, and it was good. It was some damn good Star Wars. I want more.
That was a little bit of a weird show for Star Wars to me because like it didn't. I mean, it just wasn't typical. I think of like what we've seen for Star Wars stories. It was very good. It was very good writing and characters and everything.
Yes,
but like, you know, it was unusual. I think for like what we're used to for Star Wars. But I mean, I loved it.
And it's exactly
It shows you like it gives you like a different perspective.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I want from Star Wars right now, which is new locations, new characters, new stories. Like I'm so tired of like, I don't know, the Skywalkers and Tatooine and it's the same characters we always run into. Look, there he is, it's the same guy. It's Boba Fett, and like, oh, there he is, it's Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader.
You don't want the Death Star for the 5th time?
It's a Death Star. We built another one.
We've created a new Death Star.
Another Death Star, and the Jedis have to come destroy it. Like, I don't know. To me, Star Wars has been kind of whatever. We can talk about Rise of Skywalker later. We've been kind of retreading the same ground over and over again, and it was nice to get something fresh and new with The Mandalorian that is good. It's very good. It's well acted, which is difficult because the main character is wearing like full armor and like including a helmet the whole time, like a full helmet. And which
I thought you said the main character is Baby Yoda.
the main character is Baby Yoda, if you ask the internet. But I would imagine that makes it very difficult to act when no one can ever see your face. But he does a lot of good body acting. The show is really well written. There's a lot of so the two main characters are a bounty hunter who is a Mandalorian who wears the full suit of armor, and eventually he finds this little baby who looks like Yoda, so the internet calls him Baby Yoda. So like the interesting thing about the show is the main character, because he's like this awesome badass bounty hunter guy, he doesn't talk a whole lot. And the baby literally cannot talk because it's a baby. So the show doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, which I find is a good and interesting premise to try to write your episodes around. Like, it's an interesting creative challenge. And the result is the show does a lot of like showing action and like showing. It does a lot of show instead of tell, which is good. Anyway, because like
I like that. I think the part I like about the main character is that from the very beginning, you kind of had to guess what he's thinking a little bit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he does good body acting and stuff, but like sometimes body movements can be taken as like two different ways. So from the very beginning, when you don't know anything about what the show is about, it's like you're not really sure what he's thinking. You're trying to get into his head, which is probably how every other character sees that character.
Yeah.
So that was particularly well done. And I mean, Pedro Pascal is a phenomenal actor. But here's the thing. I would submit that he was the best actor in the show.
Yes, but what are you comparing him against? Like, there's not a lot
All
of
of
other...
the other actors.
Yeah, but there's not that many
terrible.
other actors.
They
Yeah,
all
like he's on the screen almost majority of the time.
Exactly.
Any other character he comes across sucks. That's what I'm saying.
No,
They're all terrible.
false, wrong.
They're
wrong.
terrible.
Cara
Dude,
Dune is great. IG-11, fantastic. I loved
no.
IG-11.
IG-11 is he's not really standing in front of them. That's a voice actor. It's different.
That's my
But-
point. What are you comparing him against? Baby Yoda?
Every other live action actor like
There
the
are no other live. Cara Dune and Apollo
mechanic
Creed are the only other two
No,
actors.
the mechanic lady.
Okay. She's
Terrible.
in like 2 episodes.
Terrible. God awful. The bounty hunter guy speaks like he's reading every line. The bounty hunter
guy?
leader. The
Bounty
leader.
Hunter leader. Oh, Apollo Creed?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
speaks like he's reading every single line. Bounty hunter, how are you doing today?
I mean,
It's terrible.
I don't know. He's not terrible.
Line.
Like, he's not bad.
The shock trooper, ex-shock trooper girl,
Cara Dune,
like-
I liked her.
she just seems like she's like trying so hard to be cool, but not.
I thought she was pretty cool.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like the acting was not particularly good in a lot
So
of
he's
scenes.
the best
but-
actor of 4 actors, is your point.
No, I mean I can go on. All
Can
the
you?
villagers,
What are the other characters? There's not
all
that
of
many
the other
characters in the show.
all of the other villagers in the village.
They're come on. Those are extras. Those are background characters.
They're terrible extras.
All right, The Mandalorian's great. Go on.
Mandalorian is great though. It's a
All right,
fantastic
who else
story.
is endorsing something?
I don't know if you guys been checking it out, but there's a new series on Netflix called The Witcher.
Oh, man, you
shit.
stole my endorsement.
Okay, tell me about this.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I too endorse The Witcher.
Oh, okay.
Well,
well,
I second that.
Is this good?
Okay.
I've been interested in the show.
Oh,
Is this good?
it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
it's pretty good. I have some nitpicks at it. I'm only on episode 2. I'm still in the process of watching it, but I think
It gets better.
The series is more true to form, I think, to the books than the games were.
Yeah.
So I've heard. But yeah, like it's great. It does a lot of the thing that the game does, and it makes you feel like you're in the Witcher universe. And it still follows Geralt of Rivia. I don't know why I said Riviera. Of Rivia.
Geralt of Riviera.
And the guy who plays Geralt's pretty good. I have no major issues with him. But like,
Henry Cavill, who played Superman in the new DC movies too.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Henry Cavill. He's pretty good.
He's a big nerd.
Yeah. And yeah, it does a lot of the things the game does. Like, you have the Witcher, who is like a mutant, and he fights monsters for bounties, and everyone hates him, but he's kind of like a necessary evil because he helps people. And the monsters are like... It's pretty cheesy. I think the special effects are pretty corny, but in a good way. Like, it feels like one of those daytime sci-fi series that used to play like back in the day. But yeah, I don't know. I think a couple of things I could nitpick at it is like the first scene the first opening scene of the show, he's fighting a monster, and he only has the silver sword. He doesn't have the 2 swords, and so like
Yeah, that bothers me.
I complain. It made me really upset because he has 2 swords, and the reason why he has 2 swords is, and like the games do a good job of explaining it, is he has a steel sword for the humans whenever he has to fight people because they don't like him, and then he has a silver sword for the monsters because the monsters are weak to silver, at least according to the game. But they do the other things from the games pretty well. Like there's a medallion. There's Yennefer.
But that's part of the book series too. That whole concept of witches having two swords. But they do kind of explain it in the show.
Oh yeah.
He does carry around a pack that holds his other sword. So he basically chooses a sword for this episode for what he's doing and packs the other one up.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that makes
rather
sense.
than actually strapping both onto his back, which admittedly is probably something you would only see in a video game.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I do think the story is more hardcore for the book fans than for anyone else. Because even me, who's really into the games, I'm lost some of the time. When they go over some things.
Well, that's interesting. So, just since it's also my endorsement, I want to say that the Witcher series on Netflix is appealing to all audiences. Because if my wife can watch a show, it has to be it has to hold its own outside of its nerdy origins, right? So whether you are familiar with the books or the game, she was not familiar with any of it. And she loved the show, and she was actually interested in seeing every episode. She was hooked. So, I guess they do a decent enough job of giving you talking about things that you don't know anything about until later to hook you as a watcher.
Sure, I feel story and character wise, there's definitely something for everyone. But lore wise, there's things that I don't.
They talk about a lot without really going into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's kind of the overarching, larger universe, I guess they kind of hint at. I will say, if you were to watch, just watch the first episode, guys, if you haven't seen it. I do think that the choreography in that episode is groundbreaking choreography for fantasy, medieval sort of genre. In fact, I learned recently in an interview with Henry Cavill that was done in reshoots after the main production of the show, and they went back and just did the whole choreography for that scene in episode 1, and it is a definitive and very important part of the Geralt of Rivia, his character. So this was an important scene. They paid a lot of attention.
Gary of the Riverlands.
Riviera.
Gary of Riviera. Yes, that's Geralt's cousin. You've met my cousin Geralt of Rivia. I am Gary of the Riviera.
Geraldo de Riviera.
Geraldo de Riviera.
Yes.
His lesser-known cousin.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of important things in that show. So give it a watch.
Justin, what do you have to endorse?
Okay, so I thought about this one, and it's not as much as an endorsement as it is something I just noticed that I guess I've never noticed as a kid. Okay, so Christmas just happened, right? Mm-hmm. So, of course, on cable television, what do? They play Christmas shows up the ass.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
right. They shove them down your throat, especially the old claymation ones.
Oh yeah,
you have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the first Christmas, things like that. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All right, when you think of Santa, right?
Yep.
You think of Santa, and he's this big, happy, jolly guy. And, you always think good thoughts because he seems like he's a big, happy dude and he gives everyone gifts. And you're like, oh, wow, Santa's such a good person.
It's like me.
Why the hell is Santa the biggest fucking asshole in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
He is kind of a dick.
He is a dick in that entire fucking movie.
Doesn't he get nice at the end?
At the end.
He gets nice.
He literally, he bitches at the elves after they sing. He fucking, bashes Donner for having, this horrible-looking child. It's just, it's so bad. Okay. Santa's just a complete fucking asshole.
I think it's teaching kids an important lesson. That even Santa Claus can get stressed due to a lot of work. And he might bring it home and slap his wife around. And that's...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Even, too, they make a comment that, Santa hasn't been eating. He's, gotten really skinny. He doesn't have his, large body yet, but it's
Santa's
gonna
been
happen.
doing crack,
Yeah, it's like what the fuck is going on with Santa and Rudolph?
sprinkling white powder into his eggnog.
It's like he's on drugs.
Yeah.
He's like stressing out, and he's either like drinking a lot or he's like
But
going out.
Work is crazy, and he never gets any time alone, and the kids are annoying him. And,
Mrs. Claus isn't put out anymore.
Right.
And, it's really.
it's real. That's really real, man. That's home life right there.
I need to
But
go
that was
rewatch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer now.
It's bad. It really is bad. From the beginning of the movie too. He's just a dick, like outright.
Yeah, no,
it's so
true.
bad.
That is true. It's kind of a dick.
In real life.
Yeah, that's my endorsement. Go watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and see how much of an asshole Santa is. There you go.
Happy 2019. Santa's a dick.
Hey, wait.
yeah.
So we're about to get to 2020.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually New Year's Eve tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And since John kind of stole my endorsement, I'll have a secondary endorsement. I have been given authority to bring this up in this podcast episode.
Oh.
My other endorsement for you, the people, the listeners of this podcast, all 30 of you viewers, is to find yourself a woman if you're a man, or if you're a woman, find yourself a man, I guess.
Or if
But the
you're,
point
you
is-
know, you can find yourself a woman if you're a woman.
Well, no. This is specifically
man if you're a man.
not someone to love, someone to impregnate.
Oh.
Because I endorse impregnating your significant other.
Hey, why are you endorsing that?
Oh,
Yeah, Leo.
because I did that.
Hey!
Oh,
Way to
congratulations.
go!
In 2020,
Congratulations.
4th of July, expect baby Leo on this
right.
podcast.
Nice.
Best Christmas present ever, huh?
Oh, I
Yeah.
I hope it's an Independence baby.
I'm really, really hoping for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, and of course,
did I say?
if you're an interesting couple, obviously you're going to have to find someone else to impregnate and then bring the baby home if that's what.
Yeah, I
you
was
going
gonna
to
say the way you endorsed that was go find someone, impregnate them, have a baby with them. Don't fall in love with them. Just go and impregnate them.
Right. I mean,
Well, you did say you don't have to.
Well, yeah, because I'm not talking if you're a guy and guy or a girl and girl, you can't, you physically, you yourself cannot impregnate the same, so.
No, I
don't
think
tell us
Justin's.
to do, Leo.
I think Justin's point was you didn't specifically endorse falling in love or anything. You were just saying get
No.
somebody pregnant.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
You go
Yeah,
to a
that's what I
bar,
mean.
you lean next to the woman, and you say, "Hey, baby, do you want to have a baby?"
Right.
And she goes, "Sure."
Well,
you go,
because
all right, let's have a baby.
Some people don't
Like, that's it.
necessarily want to have a baby with their significant other. It's just get someone pregnant. That's
All
the
right.
endorsement.
Hey,
Get somebody pregnant.
listeners.
I mean that is a thing technically.
Yeah.
listeners. Hey, go out and get somebody pregnant.
There you go. Endorsed by Leo.
It's a new experience. I'm a year and a half in as of yesterday of having a kid. It is
right.
definitely a new experience.
Oh, yeah.
It is a different experience. It is a stressful experience.
I'm sure.
But it is
Is it
when that
rewarding?
moment comes, it'll be one of the greatest moments of your life, Leo.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I we've been at it for a couple years, so we're really excited, and we're really, in the honeymoon phase of the whole thing. We're just so excited. Of course, when the baby comes, I'm sure I'll be crying at some point, and
Yeah.
stressed out and pulling my hair out or whatever. But I'm already just thrilled at all the terrible things that are happening to my wife, and she's sick and dealing with
yeah.
all the pregnancy symptoms, and I'm just yes, this is exciting. So
While she's puking,
yeah, she
has
puking
back
her brains
problems.
out, and all that.
she's
I'm,
yelling at you. She
I'm
wants
like-
to eat weird food.
I'm yes,
You're like,
but
"Oh,
we're
this is
gonna be
great."
parents. Awesome. So
Question for you, Leo.
yes,
Are you going to have a crazy gender reveal party?
a lot of people ask me that. I don't know what the appeal is there.
Oh, there's
My-
some crazy ones online if you look them up. There.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What?
There were okay. My wife's friends apparently did one with eggs.
Oh,
So they were colored eggs, and some of them were hard boiled, and only one was not, I think. So so you had to break the eggs against your head.
oh no,
You have to pick a color and break it against your head, and if it was the raw egg, then that's what the gender was.
that's kind of silly.
Yeah. Yeah, this is how ridiculous this crap's gotten.
Weird.
Someone did like a smoke bomb out in Arizona or something, and like the color of the smoke determined the gender of the kid. And then what ended up happening is they caused like a forest fire and like burned down like 300 acres.
Oh my god!
That's terribly.
I did it
awful,
for you, little
but,
Jimmy.
But it's kind of funny too. No, I, me and Taryn are kind of like She's definitely a planner. James probably can attest.
Yeah.
Because he's known her for almost as long as I have, and she needs to know. I'm pretty sure ahead of time what the baby just so she can plan accordingly. Just I don't know, whatever sort of gadgets you need specifically for one genitalia over the other. She has to have it all. So. I don't know. There's certain things like diapers or clothes that you need for one or the other, or things you need to know how to do. And she wants to decorate differently. She wants to decorate differently for one or the other.
Yeah, most toys are gender neutral, so you don't have to worry about.
Yeah. No, but to her, it's even down to just which theme she wants to do. Not a particularly gender swingy theme, but just if it's a girl, I want to do this. And if it's a boy, I want to do this. It's
yeah.
And there are two themes that you could do for either one, but she just wants to specifically have. It's crazy. She just plans meticulously. And me, you guys probably already knew just by my terrible ability of keeping secrets that I can't really keep a secret, so I have to know immediately. So yeah, we'll know, and we'll probably announce what the baby's supposed to be coming out as. To the world or whatever. You can never be
coming out as.
You can never be. You can never be 100% sure, man. If there's one thing I've learned about this whole process is that doctors don't know shit. They don't know anything about this.
Yeah, they don't.
They know nothing, and so they're always like, "Well, I'm about 80% sure you're having a human being." And it's like, dude, what?
Turns out it was just diarrhea. Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see, but we will announce immediately because I can't hold a secret.
All right, here's hoping it's a human being.
So you guys want to know the gender right away?
Oh, right away.
Once it's able to see, you want to be able to.
Oh yeah, and then we'll let everybody else know too.
Okay.
Maybe in a cool way. Maybe we'll take a cool photo or something. I don't know.
Oh, you're gonna have a gender reveal party?
No.
Well, okay.
We'll know.
The way me and my wife did it was we knew what it was, and we pretty much announced it to everyone else.
That's not a gender reveal. That's a gender announcement.
But the thing was, our family was more excited to know what the gender was.
Yeah.
For us, it was just for us, it was the same thing. Yeah, we just wanted to know what it was so we can start preparing early.
Yeah.
And making sure we're getting all the right clothes, the right, kind of.
And that's fine. Look,
most of his stuff is obviously gender neutral, but
of course. But here's I'll be 100% honest with you. The main reason we can't have a proper gender reveal party where you literally the mother and father don't know what's happening, and then they open a box and it's well, here's what it is, true. Right? Yeah. The main reason we can't do that is because if that comes out with blue smoke, Taryn will probably burst into tears immediately because she really wants a girl really bad. So
oh no,
so she won't be happy either way.
No, she's gonna be happy either way. It's just that immediate disappointment reaction, I think, that you have to get through, and then you're like, okay, no, but I'll love him, but so it's probably fair to do that in private.
But on the flip side, if Pink Smoke comes out, she'll freak out.
Oh yeah, happy. I mean, it's high risk, high reward, I guess.
And then Leo will cry.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy no matter what. I just want a healthy baby, and I just hope she doesn't have my nose because it's huge, and that's all I can ask for.
50-50.
Yeah.
So I think the moral of this story is go get somebody pregnant. Don't cause a forest fire. Don't forget your genitalia gadgets. And
Santa's an asshole.
And Santa's a fucking asshole. All right. So that's a podcast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's sign off and then review Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, I'm very excited about this.
All right. For the Good Games Podcast, I'm James.
I'm Leo.
I'm John.
And I'm Justin.
We'll see you next time.
I wasn't sure how we were going to do that.
Yeah, that was scary. You guys did that perfectly. That was scary.
That was a new frontier.
We have never signed off with 4 people before.
We probably should have practiced that.
That was amazing. Yep. That was improvisation.
Good job,
guys. I assume it's
good job.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later. Peace.
All right, Rise of Skywalker, yeah?
All right, hold on.
Do we want to stop and re-record?
Justin, no, don't stop. Justin, have you seen this movie?
I have not.
Oh.
Yeah, I have had no like break since the movie's come out to go see it.
Justin, do
It's
you
kinda
want
sucks,
to have us spoil the movie for you in every way?
To be honest, I almost don't give a shit anymore. Because I'm like in James's attitude where it's just like I'm done with it. Like what can it be now? But
This is
then
great.
again, I do want to.
This is great. By the way, yeah, if you, I would love to explain all the bullshit of this movie to you, but I need to.
Do you want to do that?
I need to make sure you're okay with having this entire movie spoiled.
The thing is, for me, if someone explains a movie and then I go see the movie, it usually I still find it as a different experience of like watching it versus hearing people
it might
explain
be
it. So to be honest, I think this is good. I think you guys
so
need to
excited.
pitch this movie to me
I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
and either
mean,
convince me to see it or not to see it.
I think this might be good because it'll be a completely fresh perspective, and we'll just tell what the movie is, and he'll be able to honestly tell us. Like,
This is great because I've seen it with I saw the movie with John, so I know what John's thoughts on it. John's actually pretty high on this movie. I am on the polar opposite end. I thought this movie was trash.
Oh, wait, hold on. My thoughts immediately after the movie were positive, but after it sat and sank in with me, I think the movie is absolute garbage.
what? You went full 180?
You were really high on this.
No, the more I thought about it,
You slept on it.
That's how I felt with Solo. Solo was like, it was all right. You know, it wasn't exciting. I obviously was not the best. And then like as I dwelled on it more, I just started to like hate it.
Yeah.
And like, why did they do that?
Why did they do
What the
this?
hell was the point?
So this is great. So I get to play devil's advocate, not because I love the movie, but I do think it was fine.
Okay,
So-
I don't even think it was fine. I thought it was just a disaster, like all around.
So
disaster.
bring me on to Disaster Town, and I will argue
Okay.
the fine points.
Okay, first of all, Justin, did you like The Last Jedi?
Which was the movie right before this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like The Last Jedi didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
I pretty much didn't like the, what is it, Poe and Rose or whatever?
I
hate it.
I got news
Oh,
for you about
awesome.
Rose, because Rose is not in this fucking movie at all.
Oh, they just
Yeah.
fucking straight up took her out.
They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like,
hey.
They created
Rose, you
this
stay
whole love
here.
triangle and they took her out.
She was demoted to an extra.
Yeah, there was literally, her only line in the movie is to explain why she's not in the movie. She's like, hey, I gotta stick behind at the base because the internet doesn't like me and JJ said I had to stay here.
Yeah.
That is like,
Well, at least like JJ listened to the internet. I mean, no one fucking liked that at
Oh,
all. No
boy.
one wanted that in that movie.
oh boy, did JJ
that was the
listen to
worst part of that
internet.
movie. Yeah.
Okay. This movie like undoes and retcons everything about The Last
Everything.
Jedi. Yeah,
This is true.
by the way,
Well,
did you
The Last
Not
Jedi
everything.
that's the thing with The Last Jedi. It didn't fucking do anything other than like Luke Skywalker disappeared.
And Kylo
That's
Ren
about as
became
much as you got from it.
Supreme Commander, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah, Kylo Ren's Supreme Commander. It's like,
Yeah, but
But it immediately puts him in a position of lesser authority from the beginning of the.
it ruined any overarching villain, though. That's the thing. There was no bad guy.
the very first thing this movie does is surprise Emperor Palpatine is back, and it's been him the whole time. He's been pulling all the strings. Remember Snoke?
So, okay.
Snoke was
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine's pawn. It was just, and he can make another Snoke if he wanted to. It's just been him the whole time.
it was me.
Yeah.
So okay, so he got
that's
thrown down the
literally a line
shaft.
from Rise of Skywalker. It was me the whole time. Like,
Like,
Okay,
they kept smelling
so-
a fart, and he's
so-
like, "It was me."
But to be honest, though, Emperor Palpatine was probably the best thing about this movie.
Okay, see, yeah. So
Okay.
here's the fine point. Here's the fine point of view. If you are a young child, getting familiar with the Star Wars universe, as is owned by Disney, and you're likely to be young. What is the most cynical, just terrible, just villainous person that could possibly be in control of all these things? It's Emperor Palpatine. That is the perfect villain for.
He's the one who started it all, right?
Star Wars,
I guess that's the thing they're going for.
It is, and I don't dislike the way they did that. I like the he. By the way, full spoilers. By the way, he literally comes back as a literal zombie. He's all deformed, and he's got zombie. They don't really.
He's got bones.
They don't. They don't really explain any of it. They're just I'm evil, so I can do whatever I want.
So are they going to assume the weird he has the ability to? Yeah. He learned the ability to pull life from other people.
They exactly
to keep himself alive.
Yeah, they exactly quote it from episode 3.
Yeah, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Yeah, they literally...
He literally says that line?
Yeah.
Repeat that line.
Oh, for
word
sake.
for word. Which, it's fine.
It's
I
fine.
don't really need
fine.
I don't really need an explanation for why he's back. By the way, the design... I really like the design of Zombie Palpatine. That was cool. Yeah. The thing that irks me is it makes it very clear that Disney had no idea where they were going with this trilogy from the get-go. Because,
for sure.
First part of Rise...
I kind of got that from the second movie.
Yeah. The first part of Rise of Skywalker was, it was me the whole time. Fuck you! You had no idea you were going to bring back Palpatine. Fuck, I don't believe that this movie knew that.
Wait, isn't that the same fucking thing they did with Snoke in The Last Jedi? With Snoke, they went to Snoke, and Snoke was like, it was me bringing you together.
Yeah.
It's always that. Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the second thing they retcon, this is a true retcon. Huge spoiler. Rey, by the way, remember in episode 8,
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, when Kylo was like, hey, you're nobody, you're nothing, you have no place in the story, which I kind of like that better.
Your parents were silk traders or whatever.
No, actually, her grandparent is Emperor Palpatine, so Rey is a Palpatine, which ultimately they kind of present that as the big twist of the story, but ultimately that has no bearing on anything. The only thing
it just means that
the only thing it kind of explains is why she is an ultimate Jedi right at the beginning of Force Awakens. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was going to be obvious that she had some kind of probably family connection, which is why she was so strong with the Force to begin with.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that was coming.
Here's the fine point of view there. I think while it is a little bit gimmicky, and I do think it's a little silly that they kind of very quickly upturn that, it does tie in the inner conflict that Rey experiences where she's afraid of her own self and has been throughout the last couple of movies.
I don't buy that shit.
Afraid of herself in this movie.
No! What? I don't buy that shit for a second. She's like, oh,
bro, she
I'm
used
so
Force lightning.
Bullshit. She's like, I'm so afraid of what I could become. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid I could turn to the dark side. By the way, I had this dream. By the way, why didn't they shoot that scene? She's like, I had this terrible nightmare where I was on the Sith throne or whatever. That would have been a badass way to open that movie, Rey's nightmare, where she's an evil Sith Lord or something. That would have been awesome.
Would have been a cooler.
Why the fuck did they not shoot that scene? I don't know.
That would have been great.
But no, she just explains the whole. I don't buy that shit for a second. There's nothing about Rey's character that sells me that she's conflicted about anything. She's just I guess I feel the lure of the dark side because I don't know, I used Force lightning accidentally, so I guess that means I'm dark side now.
Well, isn't it the whole kind of revengeful nature that she's kind of going out of her way to go kill Palpatine and putting herself in danger, and then starts shooting lightning? She's obviously giving in to her passions.
I guess, but where? Okay, And that's another thing. Like, where does this movie draw the line between like vengeance and like doing the right thing? Because I'll fast forward to the end of the movie. Like Palpatine,
I know what you're gonna ask.
Palpatine's like, if you strike me down, you will become the new emperor. Whatever.
Right.
And that's exactly what happens. But like Rey's like, no, I'm doing it for the good reasons. But like, why? Why? Like, you just say you're a good person, and then that makes you good. Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
There's no distinction there. There's no distinction.
Yeah.
Wait, and that basically surmises why I think this movie is fine. Is because as a young, impressionable youth, you need to know what the action that you're doing, where it's coming from. If it's coming from a place in your heart of malice, you could do the same action as something that's coming from goodness and from love, and it's like better for the overall good. That's kind of the story I think that they're trying to tell there at the end. And I think for young people, that's a decent story. It's like, oh, sometimes even though I have inner turmoil, I can do the same action from a good perspective.
Sure, but it's very forced. You don't really get that message very clearly when it happens. It's like James saying, like, oh, 2 seconds later, I killed him anyways, but now I'm not a Sith Lord anymore.
No, because the music was all upbeat, and then she had two lightsabers.
The music changes, and that means she's a good now. Like,
yeah. Exactly. No, it was very coarse.
It was super cheesy.
By the way, is Palpatine's goal to kill Rey or to turn her to the dark side? I could not tell. Because like he literally says more than one time, "I want to kill Rey." Like, more than once he says, I want to kill you. And at the end of the movie, he's like, I never wanted to kill you. I want to turn you. Like, which is it, dude? Which one?
Yeah.
I think he just wanted either Kylo or Rey. He didn't really care.
I don't think he wanted anything.
a new Snoke, essentially.
No, I think they just needed some sort of a plot mechanic that was like a big bad guy. So he just... His goal was whatever they needed it to be for that scene.
So he was just like the bad guy. He was the bad man.
Yeah, he's just the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, from like a filmmaking standpoint, like this movie is 2.5 hours long. Like it's north of 2.5 hours. It's longer than that.
Jesus Christ.
Last Jedi had a long runtime too, but like this movie is 2.5 hours long, but it's so frantic. Like every scene is like
I hated it.
Rush, like cut,
yes.
scene, go, go.
It
like
cut a lot.
I was like,
it was really weird.
Like the scene is so frantically paced. Like like everything is rushed. It's just like, oh god.
Now I didn't notice that as much once it got to kind of like the middle and end, but I definitely noticed that in the first like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it felt so cheap. It was just felt like, it left a bad taste in my mouth. It was just like scene.
The movie has no sense of pace. It's just like go, go, and then it's like cutting.
That came across as very cheesy, like very campy.
Yeah, and it gets to a point like in the middle where it's like go, and then it starts cutting between planets, between storylines. So you get this frantic cutting between scenes, but then it starts cutting between planets. And you're just like, oh my god, what is even happening right now? Like,
it's like the fast travel in Game of Thrones.
I was about to say like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like nothing. I don't know. And the other thing from like a filmmaking perspective is, can we like go back to the script of this movie and take like 2 or 3 of the fucking MacGuffins that they have to find just out of the script? Because there's so many fucking, like, little doodads and MacGuffins that they have to go find. Like, we gotta go find the dagger. We gotta go find the, like, Jedi hunter ship. And then, because we need that, and then we gotta get the compass. So then once we have the compass, we gotta go find the Emperor.
The boomerang.
Like, everything
and
is
then
like...
the hook shot.
Like, everything is a MacGuffin to go find another MacGuffin. I honestly, I had to, like... I was in my seat in the theater. I was like, I can't even remember what the heroes are trying to do right now. Like, I honestly have no idea what they're doing on this planet and what they're trying to accomplish. I can't remember which MacGuffin we're looking for now.
This is true. I will grant you that argument. That has no saving grace.
Yeah, there's like I like there's so many times where I'm like, wait, what's this character's motivation? I can't remember. Like, what are we even doing?
And then just to top it off, Justin, I'm going to give you the pinnacle of the what the fuck moments of this.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple things.
Okay.
There's a lot of what the fuck moments.
There are. But here's, to me, the most eye-inducing pain I felt. Like, okay, biggest spoiler of all.
Yeah.
At the very end of the movie, the way in which Rey defeats Palpatine, leaves her...
Okay.
Leaves her...
Scarred?
I don't know. Just...
like frail.
Or just in a bad
lifeless.
state of mind.
Yeah, she just becomes like, she passes out. And then Kylo Ren appears. And Kylo Ren is kind of like more turned towards the good or whatever now. And
by the way,
I don't
buy that scene either. He's just
the
like,
good turning scene.
I saw a vision of my dad, so I guess I'm good now. I guess, like, even though I slaughtered,
so,
like,
okay,
even
so he saw like a good vision of Anakin, essentially.
No, he saw Han Solo. Han Solo's in this movie, by the way.
Oh, sorry, his dad. Sorry, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Even though at like the beginning of the movie, he's literally slaughtering like hundreds of people. Like halfway through the movie, he sees a vision of Han Solo, and he's like, I guess I'm a light side guy now.
Was it Han Solo, or I thought it was really about Leia?
I think they fought. They technically fought.
Him and Rey were fighting.
Yeah.
The point is, like, I don't buy the fact
it was weak.
I don't
as much as a change as Anakin to Vader.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes,
yeah, kind of.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
very abrupt.
I don't buy Rey being tempted by the dark side even a little bit, and I don't buy Kylo switching back to the good side. I didn't buy any of that.
I agree. But then to add to the confusion for me, and you guys help me understand this, if you will, then Kylo Ren, good Kylo Ren, Ben, I guess, if you will, comes out and just kind of touches Rey, maybe cries a little bit.
It's a very like sensual scene. It's really
and then
weird.
she wakes up and kisses him.
Yes. Like in the theater, that was a full on. I said,
what the fuck?
I said, what the fuck in theaters, and then I did a face palm.
Yeah, because all the sexual tension for the last 3 movies.
I was like, what is
she
going on?
did see him half naked in his weird, belly pants.
No one else had seen his beautiful pecs. And
Yeah.
of course she was
Like
smitten.
I don't buy that scene either. They're like having this super intense like life or death fight for like the fate of the galaxy, and then like all of a sudden she like wakes up and they start making out. Like what?
She like kisses.
What?
It made no sense. No. And then he disappears.
Yes.
At the same time as Leia.
Yeah.
Like
who had been dead for days. I was.
Oh, so Leia is definitely dead in this movie.
Justin.
Apparently Leia's a Jedi too, by the way.
Yeah, I was so confused there. I was like, what in the F is happening right now?
None of this movie makes any fucking sense right now.
No, it doesn't. Like, go watch it and it still won't make sense.
It explains so much and leaves you questioning even more.
Like, you walk out of that theater and you're just like, what the fuck? I have so many questions. Like,
yeah.
By the way, it is so obvious that, like, Carrie Fisher is... And, I mean, I don't really... Okay, it's so obvious that Carrie Fisher is not in this movie and they're just taking scenes that they shot for Force Awakens and then just, like, edited them into this. Because, like, like all of her dialogue is, like, the most generic, like... Because it's like... Oh, we gotta make this plan. We gotta, go attack the Emperor and like go do all this stuff. What do you think, Leia? I think it's a good plan. It's like blah blah blah.
Oh no.
Let's all get together. Like, what do you think, Leia? Yes. And it's just like, oh no, that's how we're gonna do this. Okay. Which like. I don't really know what the alternative is, because, like, the alternative is you have to CG her, or you have to, like, completely take her out of the movie, which, like, I don't know.
Well, didn't she actually, like, she was able to shoot some scenes, right?
No. Any scene that she's in the movie, they shot for Force Awakens.
Yeah,
so she's not in this one at all.
Well, like, I mean, she's in the movie, but all of her stuff...
I mean, she's in the movie, but I mean, like, not live in the movie.
Exactly.
Like they're recycling things.
It's just recycled footage, and it's...
I mean, it's some of it is unseen footage, like it was like cut footage or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, though, that they recycled some footage. Like, it's very obvious that, like, what Carrie Fisher is acting against is not right.
Yeah, I would have been fine if they did like a one thing, like put Carrie Fisher in for one last time, and then kind of deviate her character off to where you don't have to worry about her character anymore. You know,
well, you don't have to worry.
You
don't have to worry because she's dead.
Yeah. Or I figured like they would do something like that too. Or it's like, well,
they really instead of like
she has to die a second time.
They kind of do that.
Yeah, I mean, like they forced her in this movie, but they should have just really killed her off back when in Last Jedi, where she got exploded out of the ship. You know, like I mean, that's fair. The most appropriate time to have done that.
Fair, but they didn't know the actress. They didn't know Carrie Fisher was actually going to die in real life, though. I mean, you know.
They did before the movie came out. They knew she was gone.
Well,
like they could have posted it.
You have to go back and re-edit that movie then.
You could. And take her out of the remainder of scenes of that movie.
If it was Lucas.
Yeah.
You're dead, so we're editing you out of this movie.
George Lucas would do it.
Oh, George Lucas would do it.
Can I tell you what my favorite part of the whole movie was, though?
Yeah.
The super obvious part at the very end when like it's like they're all kind of celebrating like, yeah, things are good now, like Empire's lost, and then like it cuts to I don't even remember who the characters were, but it was the one chick who was like on the Tauntauns, the black girl, and Lando.
Oh my god! And Lando wants to fuck his daughter. Yeah,
Lando's like, hey, let's go do a spin-off movie, okay? And she's like, all right. And then it keeps going with like the rest of the celebration.
No, Lando wants to fuck his daughter, dude.
Yeah.
The way they said it, they're like, she's like, I have no idea where I am from. And he goes, let's find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so suggestively, he's like,
I love that scene.
Yeah, he's like,
so much.
Let's go find out. And it's just like, oh, Lando, you pervert. Like,
whole part.
That is not how you were supposed to deliver that line.
That felt so forced and hilarious.
It was great. Yeah.
So yeah, that's Star Wars, the fucking, what is it? Rise of the
Skywalker wakes up.
Okay, so like, do we know where the Empire stands at this point?
It doesn't make any fucking sense because at the beginning of the movie, Emperor Palpatine just literally magics like 100 Star Destroyers out of nowhere and gives them literally all 100 Star Destroyers like planet-destroying cannons. So it's just like, okay. So I guess the Empire...
100 Death Stars!
I guess the Empire is just magic now, I guess.
Yeah, well, they've been working on it for years and years under... lack of supervision.
Yeah, I don't know why it took him so long to build a Death Star if he can just magic Star Destroyers out of thin air.
I mean, he did build the second one pretty quickly.
I guess.
It's just, that was kind of magic too. It was all magic, man.
Yeah.
Presumably the Empire is toast, but then like I'm sure there's enough stragglers that
that's the thing. Like,
new order will rise from somewhere.
You thought on Return of the Jedi, they kind of insinuate that the Empire has been quote unquote destroyed. You know, like their major weapons gone.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we came back into we came back into The Force Awakens, and it's like, oh no, the Empire's just kind of changed into more of a Nazi regime.
Now it's the First Order.
Yeah, and it's still going on pretty strong, and they're still making ships, and now they just, they made a weapon out of a planet. It's like,
the one thing I can say about this movie is that
when's the good guy gonna win?
No, it makes it where like you just can never trust these movies now because they can always just spin off a sequel and say, well, Emperor Palpatine is really still just like a microscopic zombie, and now he's slowly coming back to life, and he's secretly controlling the final order. It's like they're, they can always just bring it back. That's
the whole theme is like light versus dark, though, right? Like some Jedi get tempted,
and you know what?
All that.
That was the great thing about the first movies was that it was okay. You getting an understanding that there's this entire galaxy that essentially is under control by this huge like totalitarian kind of government or whatever, and that there's this one little there's this one young kid and he loses everything, but then he learns of a new thing, and and eventually in the end the good guys kind of win, right? Then the second movie comes out and it flips it. It completely inverts it. So it's like the good guys are all kind of happy-go-lucky, and the rebels are kind of doing really well. And then all of a sudden the Empire comes back and fucking strikes a blow against them. And that movie ends on a bad note where the bad guys win. And then the third movie is kind of...
Third movie, the good guys kind of win again.
The third movie was all great up until... I still think the end of that movie is just weird.
Look, I think the proper way to end Star Wars, and this will never happen, it's supposed to be about balance. It's supposed to be about good and evil have to be in balance, right?
Coexisting.
Yeah.
Where are we left now?
The proper way to end Star Wars is Return of the Jedi. Just stop.
I feel like the way they're doing this is like Dragon Ball Z style.
Yeah.
It's just like the Force keeps getting fucking stronger.
Yeah.
And you can always just get
stronger.
In another 10 years, we'll get another trilogy, and everyone will just be stronger, and there'll be another
stronger and
very similar sounding bad
go
guy.
Super Jedi.
We keep wishing people back to life, and death
Yes,
doesn't really
yes.
mean anything.
Yeah,
Please,
and the
please
third
make it.
episode, Palpatine will come back and be like, "I've really been here the whole time
Please.
because
I've
have
learned to
make
use
it.
the Force. I've learned
have
to use the Force how to
unlimited
alter
power."
time.
yeah." So
I can
that's
control time
And
now.
there's
That's
a
Star
hyperbolic
Wars.
time chamber.
it's an endless cycle. That's all it is. That's what we've
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a mess of a movie, but if you just go in there and just like turn off your brain and don't think about anything, like maybe it can be fun. I don't know.
See, and that's every kid.
And oh yeah,
Every
there's
kid
Leo's
has their
argument
brain
right
turned
there.
off. Right.
Every kid.
Is that what Disney's trying to do? Are they just trying to appeal to?
They're just dumbing it down. They're just dumbing it down for dumb kids, and kids love it.
Isn't that what? Is it? Wasn't that like Lucas's
It's
purpose
fine.
for the prequels?
Right.
It was like
And
he's like, I really made it for kids.
It's fine. It's fine, man. Like I think it's a fine. It's a terrible movie that is fine for.
Okay, so plot
every
like
kid.
story wise, it's terrible, but as a movie, it's okay.
No,
Oh.
it's
I
terrible.
would say the
movie.
opposite.
It's terrible.
On
Yeah, I
paper,
think
it's a good story, but implementation
What is it?
horrible.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's bad
because if
all
you think
around.
about it, Palpatine's been there since the beginning.
Leo,
and
you sound indifferent. Like, what's going on, man?
I am indifferent. I think it's fine. It's kids will love it. They'll eat it up. I think it's a terrible movie, but what are you gonna do, man? Like,
Okay,
Well, I'm not a kid, so-
You can have a good movie that also appeals to kids. Like, they're not mutually exclusive.
well, this is not that.
No,
obviously.
it is not. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay, it's not a good movie. It's not a good Star Wars movie. Okay, it's gonna appeal to two people. It's going.
But it is Star Wars.
It's going to appeal to a certain subset of Star Wars fans who like. Okay, there is a lot of fan service in this movie. Like a lot of fan service. Like the scene you described, Leo, where like Rey and Kylo make out. Like that. It's gonna appeal to like those types of fans, right? And it's gonna appeal to kids.
teenage girls.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But fans like you, James, are people who dig in deeper into like the story of Star Wars, or like
there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's trash.
Yeah,
it's
like-
trash. And just
like
It
it's
is
more
pretty
of just
trash.
appealing to the Star Wars, the basic like moviegoers of Star Wars, where it's
Yeah,
just they want to see.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they want to see romance
Yeah,
and they want to see comedy, but they like there is
fantasy.
sure, yeah.
No, yeah, they don't want to.
The casual moviegoers.
They
Yeah,
don't care if
yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you want to just go to the theater and watch an action movie, like you'll probably have some
Yeah.
fun with this. But like,
Yeah.
I think it fails as a Star Wars movie. Like it fails as like a good like capital C cinema, like capital M movie.
Oh yeah.
Like,
by all metrics of an actual film. Yeah.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
the pacing is so bad. Like the script,
Terrible.
The script needs to be rewritten to just take out all of the MacGuffins. Like
Too much retconning from
yeah,
previous movies.
that
There's a
really,
lot.
Yeah.
like, honest to God, like, regardless of what your opinion on The Last Jedi is, I found all of that retconning to be so annoying. Like, Like,
It was unprofessional.
yeah, it's just like, hey, remember that last movie? Fuck that movie. Like, you know how Luke Skywalker was like, he was like, a loser now, and he was like afraid to whatever. No, actually, he was on a secret Jedi mission. We just forgot to mention that. Oh, remember in the last movie where we said Rey's parents were nobody? What we meant to say is Rey's a Palpatine. Yeah, fan service. Oh yeah, because everyone in Star Wars has to be someone. Like, we can't have anyone who's not related to the previously established characters.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Was that the Luke Skywalker shit? Is that he was on a secret mission?
Oh no, yeah, he's on a secret Jedi mission the whole time. He was gonna, he was doing all the secret stuff for the Jedi. He didn't give up on the Jedi.
A MacGuffin.
Yeah. Exactly. He didn't give up on the Jedi Order. He was actually on a secret mission. You just misunderstood the last movie. Like,
what about the ancient texts?
The ancient they're still back in the movie. But that's actually one of the MacGuffins.
Yeah.
Is Rey has to pull out the text, and then she realizes one of the MacGuffins is.
Well, that was the whole plot. Was like Luke.
Yeah.
Luke was like going to burn them all, right?
Yeah.
But now she has them.
No, Yoda was going to burn them all.
Or Yoda. Well, still, but like
Yoda did burn them all.
We thought.
Yeah.
But then she had them.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
Yeah, she grabbed it before she left. That was the idea.
I found all the retconning of the last movie to just be super annoying, and it was super annoying.
That was half of Last Jedi, was all that.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being nothing.
Yeah, and we
And
erased all of the nothing that Last Jedi was, but also like not only does it like. I don't know, it's kind of a fuck you to Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi, but also it just makes it very obvious that Disney did not have an overall plan for this trilogy. Like,
oh, for sure.
At the beginning when Emperor Palpatine, it's me all along, like, fuck you, like, come on. Like, I don't know.
Their whole plan was just, hey, Star Wars, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think if I were to summarize what the Good Games cast thinks of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, it would be, it's not a good movie.
Right.
It's not a good Star Wars movie.
Right.
But it is Star Wars.
Okay, yeah. Fair.
And you have to live with it.
And you have to like it.
No, I mean, that's just it's Star Wars, so it's
the
there.
movie you get.
I don't know.
That's what we get.
Someone
will like it because it's just Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
You know what? And if you're upset by The Last Jedi, just go watch The Mandalorian. It's better in every way.
I actually would say if you had to pick one Star Wars movie that was released in 2019 or Star Wars media to watch in 2019, it would definitely be Mandalorian, not Rise of Skywalker.
I'm kind of lukewarm on Jedi Fallen Order. I'd put Jedi Fallen Order over Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
as like story wise.
Yeah, and I'm pretty low on the. Well, I'm not low. I'm lukewarm on the Jedi Fallen Order story.
I would put the prequels before any of the new.
I actually would put the prequels above the last.
After rewatching episode 3, I really love that movie. It's really good.
What? No. What? No. Get out of here, John.
Please.
You know, I was really upset that with the lightning scene in the end of Rise of Skywalker, it was a missed opportunity for unlimited power.
Yes.
Unlimited
power. Oh, Justin, you will love it though. There is one line from Palpatine that made it into Rise of Skywalker that you'll love.
Okay.
Yeah, just wait for it. When you see it, you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
John,
okay, so you're gonna let me sit on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Find that out for my own.
Yeah. Give you a little bit of mystery.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think about if you think about it for too long, you'll realize what the line is.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Now I know what it is.
Yes, it's in there.
He goes, do it.
Oh yeah, they put that in. Yeah, they put that.
Do
in.
it. Do it. Yeah. Lots of fan service. Like this movie has a lot of fan service in it.
Okay, all right. Can we talking about fan service? Did you guys watch the last episode of The Mandalorian?
Yes, I did. Oh, are we gonna spoil The Mandalorian too? Fuck it, let's go. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying, like, if you want to do fan service right, can we just give all of the awards and acclamations to the opening scene of the final episode of Mandalorian with the 2 stormtroopers?
Oh, I don't even think that's fan service. That was just a great scene.
It was a fantastic scene.
I would
but
take-
like it was fan servicey.
I would take an entire series of just those two stormtroopers.
Those guys were amazing.
Yes.
But like the whole part where they couldn't shoot the
Yes.
thing on the ground.
So good. So good.
I mean that was like for us.
where they
And
like
that's-
they
you know?
can't aim.
That's a
Yeah,
perfect
they couldn't aim at all.
And that's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier, where the movie does a lot of like show don't tell. Like that's a perfect way, just like show that the stormtroopers are like hilariously inaccurate. Like
Yeah.
very good, very
I loved
good.
it. I love that whole scene. It was fantastic.
Yes, it was. Yeah, Mandalorian's fucking good, dude. I want
Yeah.
some more Mandalorian.
Yeah. I feel like the shows, like from like
Kinda-
Clone
kinda where
Wars
it's at.
to
Yeah.
what was the one
Rebels.
Disney Rebels? Yeah.
Well, you know what? That brings up a
Mandalorian.
good
Like
point,
the shows
Justin.
are actually like the shows are really good. Like
Yeah.
you know what? Fuck the movies. Just stick with the shows.
Well, now I'm starting to wonder, like, when people, when the older generation was watching the prequels, I'm sure there was a lot of disdain from, because they were like more nerdy and were thinking about the originals and they're not doing it right and it's wrong, which we all can agree the prequels had their shortcomings, but I wonder if then they were looking at like the Clone Wars show and like books and stuff that were coming out at the time that were like expanding the universe, and we're thinking that's a way better medium to learn about Star Wars.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think that's why those things are.
I feel like
Positive.
the movies have always been about just good dumb Star Wars, and you just can't read into them that well,
Okay. But the classic trilogy, let's not
No.
shortchange
The classic trilogy is different.
Yes.
The classic
Yeah.
trilogy is different.
Okay, all right.
Because that was the start of it all. So that
it
was
our
like,
spark.
the spark that
Yeah,
ignited
and obviously,
the.
obviously, in the making of those movies too, there was like an appeal to make the movies
so you had to make it
like,
good.
good for that
Right.
time, because you had to sell the movie or else
Right.
it would bomb, and then Star Wars would have just been nothing.
Nothing, right. So,
Yeah.
so outside of the original trilogy, then from that point on, it was just movies are for making money and showing to kids, and if you want to get your legit Star Wars story, get it somewhere else. Is that fair to say?
That's
Yeah,
fair. Let's be real though. The quality. Okay, I find the average quality of the Mandalorian to be pretty high. The quality of Clone Wars and Rebels, let's be honest, that's pretty hit and miss. Like,
No.
Yeah.
But I'm also throwing in Knights of the Old Republic.
oh, okay,
all
that's a
of
good.
the
Yeah,
books,
yeah. Oh God,
the books that expanded the universes. People
Yeah,
loved all the
yeah.
different novels, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. By the way, I'm replaying Knights of the Old Republic right now. That game is so well written. It's it's insane how well written that game is.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fucking Star Wars.
Fucking
Star Wars.
All right. Are we gonna? Are we good? Are we done?
I think we're good.
All right.
I gotta
that
go
was,
to bed.
Yeah, that was long. That was
I'm
a
tired.
long one.
I'm tired.
That was
No,
a-
just making sure I was supposed to record. I was supposed to record all that, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I hope
Or
you
not.
did.
You recorded all that,
yes,
right?
I did.
Oh,
no, yes,
Jesus.
it's all recorded. I'm just making sure I was
Yeah.
supposed to.
Oh,
or if
fuck
that
yeah,
was just
yes,
an
definitely.
offside conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
I just wanna
fucked.
make sure.
We're fucked if you didn't record that.